It's Peter Weinberg, one of the founding partners of Perella Weinberg, and he's with me here at the World Economic Forum. Peter has offices around the world, about to open one up in Abu Dhabi. So, Peter, you have an enviable list of client relationships. Many of your clients are here, and you get to sample their mood every year. I wonder what they're telling you this year.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple days, Eric. Every year I find there's a different theme and a different group of people that's at the center of the wheel. It was the internet companies one year, it was the LBO firms another, hedge funds, banks, etc. This year the regulators are really at the center of the wheel. And it really, the conference is serving its purpose in a way because it's gathering together all the constituencies that interact with the regulators, and that should be a constructive thing.
Well, that theme is certainly emerging loud and clear. Is the sense, though, that the regulators are holding the ball, so to speak, or because I spoke with Brian Moynihan earlier today, the banks, to a degree, are trying to take control of the debate back as much as they can?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because you've got the public outcry on one end, and then you've got the regulators who are really standing in between that emotion, which I think we all understand, and the financial institutions. And so they play an interesting role, almost one of intermediation, as well as one as a policy kind of objective.
What are the conversations like, though, between these parties? Are they relatively civil, or is there, you can sense some concern and consternation on the part of people in the financial services industry, among them Steve Schwartzman, who was sitting right where you are yesterday. He's obviously not a bank, but he's concerned about the implications for financial services about this shift to a populist mood.
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern, and I think the concern that people have here, and certainly that I have as well, is that, you know, the pendulum is very, very far out on the edge in terms of the, you know, how upset people are and about unemployment and the deficit. I mean, there are a lot of issues that have really pushed emotion out to the extreme. I think, though, here, I think people are constructive. I mean, I think everyone has the objective of trying to get the financial system back up on its feet, and to do so with the regulators in such a way where it allows banks to grow and to finance growth, which I think we all would agree is something that's positive, but without constraining too much the activity.
To that end, do you think Davos might end up accomplishing more this year, perhaps, than it has in previous years?
Yeah, we'll have to see, but I think it definitely has that chance. And I've always thought that when the world, the more complex the world becomes, and the more issues there are in various different areas of the world, the more useful a venue this can be.
We talked briefly at the outset about your client list. Tell me what you see happening in the way of capital flows and what you're learning from the conversations you're having here at the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of conservatism in the system. I mean, I think there's been a number of comments here about the M&A market kind of coming back to life. I think the M&A market is slow, and I don't think that there's a renewed surge of confidence. But I do feel, though, there continue to be a number of entities around the world, very large, very strong, cash-rich companies, and their opportunities continue to be very significant.
Speaking of strong cash-rich companies, Goldman Sachs comes to mind for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's a firm that you and your family are closely associated with. You were once chairman of Goldman Sachs International. There's been a lot of Goldman bashing, and Goldman has really taken on the chin much of the criticism being leveled at the financial services industry. My question to you is, do you think that that's getting to the point where it's damaging Goldman's client relationships, where the clients are growing concerned? And if so, what kind of opportunities does it create for Perella Weinberg, for example?
Yeah, I think the whole industry is suffered. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that Goldman has suffered necessarily more than other institutions. I think we all have suffered because I think the industry really has a black eye as a result of what's happened. Does it create opportunities for us? It does to some extent, but in the merger business and in the restructuring business, which are our primary areas of focus on the advisory side, you need large institutions. Large institutions will participate for sure, and they can't exist without it. And so I do feel that it does to some extent create opportunities for us, but I think, you know, we all have to work on the image of the industry, not just the large firms.
Speaking of image, have Goldman and other firms for that matter kind of blown the PR campaign, would you say, over the past year?
I think that's easier said than done. I really do. I think it's a very, very difficult position that they're in, and I think anybody who has easy solutions for any of the firms, I think is really misdirected, because I think it's a real challenge.
All right, Peter, thank you very much for joining us here at the World Economic Forum. It's Peter Weinberg's 12th WEF or thereabouts. We're always happy to have him back. He's a founding partner of Perella Weinberg Partners, and we're here at the World Economic Forum in Davos.